Very, very strange to me. Welcome, everybody. If you didn't catch what I just shared, as we're getting ready to start, I dropped a couple of files in the chat box. The first thing was the article on the triad, the dark triad. In case you didn't get that in email or in the Moodle, I'm apparently having some fun times with the Moodle that I wasn't aware I was having. After that article is the agenda for today. And then after that, there was one link to my Google Drive, which was only of the audio of today's session. But then the second link is access to everything for the session. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. Are there any questions before I start sharing my screen?
Actually, I have a question related to the chapter, at least to the part that I read.
Yes.
But we can wait during that chapter. Maybe it will be answered automatically. Up to you.
Okay, it sounds good. How about if you hold on to it, because we're going to do a couple of engagements that will incorporate the chapter readings. And then if it's not answered, then make sure that we bring it back towards the middle of the session, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me share what we're going to work on today. And you should see a Google Doc of today's agenda, which is the PDF that you have in the chat box. Hope you all had a really great week. I was sharing before we started, I am on baby watch. My daughter is about to have her second daughter. She has a 3-year-old, but she is due any day. Her actual due date is June 30th, but we think that this little girl is going to be impatient and join us sooner. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if I seem a little,
Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. We're very excited. I feel like the excitement is starting to overcome me. So if I seem a little scattered, don't hesitate to say you're not making sense right now, because it's very exciting times. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of critical thinking engagements to get started, and then we are going to go straight into Johari Window experience. Johari, it's named after a man named Joseph and Harry blended together. And then we're going to talk about the chapter evaluation and front load for the 27th of June. I want to make sure that I keep some time towards the end for us to review the assignment expectations for that 4th of July project-based assignment, which is actually going to be problem-based focused. So I'm really excited about that and have all of those materials ready to start to ease you into that assignment. So let's go ahead and get started with our first critical thinking engagement. The reason why I'm not starting with the summary of the learning objectives and why I didn't dedicate direct time to that this morning is because for me it's morning, for a lot of you it's evening, is because I incorporated them at the end of chapter 3 presentation deck lecture this week. And so if that ends up not working for us, we can go back to the old way that we were organizing our time. I just find that the 2.5 hours goes very, very quickly. So we will see how it works, and then I'll get some feedback from you all on that. What I want you to do right now is type in the chat box, what do you see? What do you notice? I see Co is typing. Naran sees a black circle in a white area. Med sees a black circle. Co sees a black circle. I see a couple more people typing. Black circle in a white background. Black dot. Black circle in the white background. Okay. Give me another minute if anybody else wants to. Okay, so let's talk about that. Our chapter reading this week is about perspectives, right? And perspective of others as well as of ourselves. And I love doing this engagement because everybody's attention is drawn to the black. Some notice the white. And that's what we do as leaders or in interactions in our workplace is we focus on what's specifically in front of us and don't necessarily pay attention to that white space. We don't pay attention to the fact that we have a single mom working for us who is struggling with daycare situations for her children. We don't necessarily recognize that someone is putting in a lot of effort to be more present in team meetings, but it's difficult for them because they tend to be more introverted. There's a lot of things that we miss if we only look at the black spot or the black dot in the middle. So I want to hear from you in relation to the readings, how you connect this, what do you see engagement with organizational behavior studies. And you can go ahead and just shout it out or type it in the chat box.
Can I say?
Absolutely.
Actually, according to what you have explained, that we should see the black spot and the white space together. So same as in the work environment organization too. So we have to focus on our surrounding, who is busy, so we can help, and managers to look for the employees surrounding them so they can notice what problem they are struggling with and what they are good at, so they can behave according to what they see. So we have to be engaged with each other. That give us a better perspective of each other, and what our weaknesses, strength is, what we can do and what we can't. This is my opinion.
Thank you.
Well,
Couple more people.
Professor, I think this is about perception of each individual. What we see, the information here, what we see is what we receive about, and what's making sense to us. So for in this case, what we see is actually the contour of the black. That's why we perceive it as a black circle. That's why I thought, wow, as a perception. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, Professor, that if we apply the Myers-Briggs traits, every individual will have a certain perception and towards situations and how to interact with the situations and others as well, other team members as well. So there will be some, as it's mentioned, someone will be judgmental, someone will be perception, someone will be extrovert, someone will be introvert. So this one, in related to the organization behavior, perception toward others, toward myself and others.
Thank you.
Maybe I'm not focusing, but this is what I'm thinking.
Yes, no, this is a good start for us to think. What I'm going to do now is share. Thank you for those who shared. I'm going to go ahead and go into the next critical thinking engagement, which is a quick video clip that is a marketing tool for an organization. And after we watch it, we'll continue the conversation. And I apologize in advance if my dogs end up barking today. There's going to be a few people coming and going from the house, and I will try to mute my microphone if that happens. Here we go. Okay. So let's talk now a little bit. We talked about empathy in the past. Let's talk now a little bit about why you think that organization would choose to use that video in their trainings, and how does it perceive to us in learning about organizational behaviors?
Well, there is a story behind every story. So by watching this short clip, yeah, there is a story behind each one, behind each face, each behavior. We think we are interpreting that in the correct way, but generally it's not necessarily. We think that we are correct, but we are not. So if we apply this to organizational behavior, we cannot use the first impressions, or we cannot take for granted that we understand someone, simply because we don't.
Exactly. Thank you. I want to hear from a couple more people, please.
Do you hear me, Professor?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
I think this video is very important, and we wanted to send us a checkbox. Okay, this video is talking about every person has one problem. If you are a doctor, you must treat differently. You must feel differently, because each person he has his own problems, and to face this problem in differently. So every doctor must have, or every person must have their own empathy or their own emotional intelligence. That's my perspective.
Actually, I guess we have to be aware of others' emotions, and to, as a part of emotional intelligence, of course, to know how the people will behave, how what makes their beliefs, how they feel, so we can predict or expect their behavior in case we know their emotions, and know how they think, and we can manage their emotions according to our study for them. This is my personal opinion.
In addition to my fellows' comments, I would like to say that yes, we need to be kind and understanding of others' emotions, because people's emotions, behaviors, feelings are affected by the situation they are in. So that's why we need to be kind and understanding with people in the workplace, or maybe in other places as well.
Professor, for the short video, we can see how emotions actually influence people's attitudes and behavior. What the emotional experience they occur is based on the information they first received. So, for example, one of the video, the guy felt relief and going back to, his home when he knows that his wife's surgery went well, and yeah. So I think that's how it affects people's emotion affects the attitudes and behaviors.
I think also we have to be in the other's shoes, to feel their feelings. Try to be kind as much as we can. Try to be patient, to feel their feelings as much as we can.
Thank you. So what we're going to be doing next week is going to wrap up our considerations for ourselves as well as others, and move into another layer of focus for how our organizations behave, and what we need to do about that. Something that really stood out to me in the video was that moment where the woman was getting a diagnosis and she didn't understand. Or the moment where I think it was another woman, was being explained about her condition and she was in shock. And it really made me think about the training video that we engaged with last week a little bit differently from both the manager's perspective and the employee's perspective. And so what I want you guys to keep thinking about today and next week during the content that's going to relate is, so we don't want to enable the behaviors. We want to be aware of them and have systems in place that can treat others with kindness without allowing them to not do their jobs. And so be thinking about what that means for you in your role in businesses and how you can understand more about people's stories. And I always like to say backstories as well, because people may share with you what they want to share with you, but there's always additional things behind that we don't know about and we're not aware of, and we can't know every detail. But how will we contribute to our organizations in a positive way to have positive impact on our work when engaging in empathy and not enabling? So be thinking about that. Now, today's engagement for us is focusing on the Johari window. And just to give you a brief, it's a 2-minute, it's not all of the details that were in the textbook, but there's a 2-minute video that will help you understand what that is. And then I'm going to explain the engagement that we're going to spend the bulk of our time today in. Now, the handout that I'm going to give you has different quadrants, but they mean the same thing as the quadrants in the textbook. So let me go ahead and just take us into that right now. And then this is all going to interconnect, so that's why I'm just gliding right into this next explanation. If you were able to read the chapter, you'll make some connections. If you didn't read the chapter, you'll still be in okay shape to be able to engage with us today.
Everyone, it's Yanis here, and in this video, we will explore what is the Johari window. To learn more about yourself and how other people see you from their
$1,200.
Sorry.
$5,000. And this one is
perspective, you can use this simple exercise. If this is your first time on this channel, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates on my latest videos about time management and productivity. The Johari window is the technique that helps people better understand their relationships with themselves and others. This model is a simple and useful tool for illustrating and improving self-awareness and mutual understanding between individuals within the group. Johari window exercise starts like a square that is separated into the 4 quadrants: open, blind, hidden, and unknown. Each of these quadrants represents different aspects of what information you know and what information others can see. So let's take a look what each quadrant means. Usually, this exercise uses a list of adjectives that will be added in a certain quadrants. Words like brave, calm, caring, friendly, helpful, patient, organized, etc. The first quadrant is open area. This information is something that you are aware of, as well as people in your team or in your life. This could be a quality of being helpful. The second quadrant is blind area. This is your blind spot, information that you don't know, but other people can see it. You might not realize it, but your colleagues might see you as a very confident and clever person. If you want, you can expand your blind area by asking people feedback about yourself. The third quadrant is hidden area. These are the things that you know about yourself, but you manage to hide them from people around you. For example, these might be your fears or beliefs. The fourth quadrant is unknown area. This is something you don't know about yourself and others don't know as well. If you want to learn more about your unknown area, then you have to explore it by doing things that you haven't done before, like setting bigger goals and working on new projects. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I was able to give you a quick summary of what Johari Window is and how you can use it. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you could press.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I dropped a document in the chat box, and we're going to spend the next hour and a half looking at each other in relation to Johari's window. So you're going to have a group of no more than 4 people. And I'm going to try to have one group stay in the main room because last time I didn't get to experience what you were doing in your groups. And I want to be able to just kind of be a fly on the wall. So we're going to have a few groups of 4 people or less. You're going to go into your group and each group member will introduce themselves. If you haven't done that already, you're in a master's program together, in a lot of courses together, but you're going to keep that brief. It's going to be 10 minutes total. And then each person will have that copy of the handout that I just put in the chat box. And you're going to make sure that everyone has that. The group is then going to elect a facilitator. And the facilitator for your group is going to guide the members through the instructions that are on that handout. The final steps at the bottom of the handout are going to be completed back in the main meeting room with all of us together. And then the group is also going to need to have a timekeeper, because the timekeeper is going to be essential in assuring that every group member has time to be the receiver. That's a part of the instructions. And we want to make sure that the facilitator then is able to select a person who is going to be the first receiver. Everyone else will engage with the instructions as participants during that 15-minute total time frame per person. Okay, so if myself and Nora and Ahmed were in a group, the 3 of us, we would go into our breakout room. We would introduce ourselves to each other, 10 minutes. You decide what you want to share or how you want to do that. And then you're going to affirm that everybody was able to download that copy of the exercise instructions. And then you're going to decide if it's me, Nora, and Ahmed. I'm going to be like, oh, I think Nora would be a great facilitator for our instructions today. And Ahmed's going to agree with me. And so Nora's going to say, I'm comfortable with that, or I'm not comfortable with that. And you're going to go on. And then the next thing will be, so Nora might say, or Ahmed might say, oh, well, we want Anne to be the timekeeper. You've made that decision. You're going into the instructions that are on the document. And at that point, you'll start with one person being the receiver, the other 2 people being the participants. So it might be Ahmed is the first receiver. Nora and I are the participants. And when we look at our document, it shows us a list of adjectives we're going to engage with that. And we're going to actually consider our grid, like what areas are unknown, blind spots, what are in the arena, what are a facade. And so it'll be important that when Nora and I are participants with Ahmed being the receiver, that Ahmed is writing down those areas. So having a piece of paper or a document on his computer so that he's capturing all of that information. After his 15 minutes are done, then it will be Nora's turn or my turn. And when all 3 of us have completed, we'll come back to the main room. If we complete before our time is up, our 90 minutes is over, then we can go ahead and take a quick break, take a stretch break, or do whatever you need to do, because we're going to come back into the main room at 12 o'clock. Does that make sense to everybody what you're going to do? I don't see anyone saying that they're confused in the chat box. So I'm going to go.
There is one confusion about we will be in a group in a breakout room for 15 minutes or for around 60 minutes, because I'm confused about the time we should do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, because you are not in the same time zone as me. It will be at 90 minutes, actually about 85 minutes by the time you get into the room, because each person will have 15 minutes to do the work. And I know that that only equates to about 30 to 45 minutes, or 45 minutes to 60 minutes. But there's other things that you're doing first, the introductions, making sure you have your document. I want to make sure you have plenty of time for this. So in 85 minutes, we're going to come back to the main room.
Great.
And I will also send notes to you all in the rooms while you're there, giving you where you should be at about this time frame. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So Wellington is going to be coming in now to class. So when he gets put into a group, he's going to need some help with what we're doing. Okay. Welcome, Wellington. I'm just opening the rooms now. I want to have this room has to have less. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. It was saving our rooms from last time. It is recreating our rooms. And here you go. Your room should be opening now. Winnie, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to assign you to room 4.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm planning on the afternoon around 3 or 4.
16 grup ya. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Wellington. I've just assigned you back to room 3 where you're supposed to be with your group right now. Wellington, are you here with me or are you in your group room?
Okay, known to myself, known to others.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Just give me a quick heartbeat on how did it go?
It went well, you know. The purpose here is to understand what I'm thinking about myself, but
Ahmed, are
I'm
you
not
speaking? I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear.
Oh. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me, Professor?
I can, thank you. I was getting some background noise earlier and I think I had turned off my speaker. I think that was my fault, not yours. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So the purpose of this exercise to see if what I'm thinking about myself is visible or not. Okay?
Correct.
Because out of my 12, what I thought I am this, only 3 is showing.
Interesting.
Okay. And 12 is like I didn't see it. I didn't see them. People see in myself, but I don't see it in myself. While 9 adjectives for myself is hidden, is not like I'm not showing it properly.
That's really insightful. So, Abdussamid, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes. My characteristics. Sorry?
I'm sorry, did you have something you wanted to add?
No.
No, okay. All right, I'm sorry, your microphone's not muted, so I thought you were wanting to say something next. So Ahmed, very insightful. And this is the first time that you all really had to have an end product when you worked in a group together, and there's a reason behind my madness in doing so. Because the groups that you were in, you are going to be working with on a couple of projects that we're going to be doing in July. And so I thought this was a great way for you all to, just a second, let me mute Okay, there we go. This will be a great way for you guys to start thinking about how you can complement and interact with each other. And it's also really fantastic for you in regards to self-reflection for how you interact in your organizations and what you see and perceive and what others see and perceive. I found it and find it every time to be very, very insightful. The reason why it was important to me to give you the amount of time that we did today with this engagement was because I wanted to make sure. Oh, Ahmed, did you have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I understand the reason behind this exercise, but I'm not convinced with it.
Okay, say more.
I got to know a little bit about my teammates. Just what they said about themselves in just 15 minutes, and what like I have as background about them from different courses, okay, which is very limited. We didn't have actual interaction with each other. We didn't have situations with each other. So no matter what perspective I have will be short, will be small.
That's fair.
Yes, Professor, I agree.
Yes,
and at
that's
the same
fair.
point, at the same point, I didn't have the chance to show what's in me. Like, for example, I'm not a talkative person. I don't like to speak. I'm very quiet. But situational, I'm talking too much. I'm talking, in this 1.5 or 2 hours, more than I'm talking in the whole day. Literally, really.
Yes, good.
I can spend hours in silence, just working on my laptop or doing something on my mobile. Silence, complete silence, hours. So I'm not very convinced with this exercise. I understand the objective from it, but I'm not convinced with it. It could work on the long term, but not the short term.
Okay, so you make a good point, and I think that I think what it has offered us is a starting point, correct? And what I had mentioned is I thought it was important for us to engage in this today because you all are going to be working in these groups in the future, and you're going to know a little bit more about each other when you're starting in those groups, and then you're going to keep adding to it. Different adjectives or descriptors will start to stand out for you. And I think that's important because when we're in our organizations, we expect our teams to perform for us. And if they know very little, like you all know very little for the most part about each other, right now, there's things and structures, systems that will need to be put into place in order to grow your organization's trust and empathy with each other so that you can have better results and better performance. Fair enough?
Very fair.
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for coming out of your comfort zone and speaking with us so much, Ahmed, because I would never know that you were not an outspoken person, because I've always appreciated your contributions to the course. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I'm really shy right now.
Yes. Okay, I see a hand raised. Mansoor, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yes, Professor, just wanted to say something in addition to Ahmed's comment. So yes, the purpose of the test was great, but I think that it would be more useful if we do this test with our close friends and family members. So because they know us better, so than our teammates today. That's why they could tell us the adjectives or the skills, abilities, or the yes, the abilities that we have. I think that would be more useful if we do it with the close friends and family members.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. And before I respond, I see that Amir wants to say something. Amir, is your hand up? You're on, oh, you're not on mute anymore, but we can't hear you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So you made a really good point, Mansoor, because this is a great engagement for you to do with people who you have a closer relationship with, and that will give you insights for yourself, for sure. The reason why we did it here together today is because it was very insightful for the people who were in your group and a way for them to get to know you and how you perceive yourself for when they're working with you in this course and other courses that you're in. So I want to let you all know that we by no means are just walking away from Johari's window. We are going to have your self-reflection as the chapter evaluation this week. So I want to show you where that is and what that's going to look like. And that's why it was another reason why it was really important that we took the time for you to each go through the different areas. So when I go to the Moodle, you'll see the 20th of June chapter 3 quiz. You might not see it yet because I did set it to start sometime during this class session and go for the next 24 hours. But I want to show you how to access the link because the Moodle has been giving me a little struggles, or I've been struggling with the Moodle. And so what I did is I opened a form in Google, and you'll put in your email address and your name, and you'll have 3 questions that you're going to answer. And with those 3 questions, you're going to need to incorporate elements from your learning engagement during the class session today, as well as authentically reflect incorporating your learning from the chapter readings. So you're going to bring in 2 different components for this quiz. And that is, like I said, located in the Moodle 20th of June chapter 3 quiz. Let me go back to our front loading for our next session.
Professor,
Yep.
excuse me.
Yes.
Can you please repeat the quiz? My internet connection was interrupted in the middle.
Oh, absolutely. No problem. Let me go back to the screen for you. So the quiz, when you look at the end of your handout, it said we're going to come back to the main room for that last portion. Well, that last portion is going to take place as a self-reflection for the chapter evaluation for the quiz. And what that will look like is when you go to the Moodle, you'll see a 20th of June chapter 3 quiz and select it. And then you'll open that link. And in that link, it explains to you that a copy is going to be emailed to you. Because like I said, we're going to continue this work. We are an organization. And so we're going to be growing as an organization over each session. So your windows that you worked on today, as well as your results from this quiz that you'll get an emailed copy to you, you'll need to make sure that you're holding on to those. For the quiz purpose, there's going to be two components that go into your scoring. The first component is that you incorporate elements from the learning engagement during the class session today. So that's, be real. Like Amid was sharing with us earlier, how he felt like maybe it was like a group of people that don't really know him very well. And Mansoor was saying, well, maybe like doing this with people who are closer to us, having a mentor do this with you would be fantastic. But for this, for the quiz, your reflection is going to incorporate what you've already experienced, which is what we did today in class, as well as learning from the chapter reading. And the quiz itself is 3 open-ended questions. And so you'll put your email in and your name. So you shouldn't have a problem getting a copy of your answers emailed to you, because it's going to go to the email that you enter in there. That's why I'm having you put your name as well, because I understand some of you have issues with your university email and you receive email somewhere else. Whatever email you want to use for this, you feel free to use it, but make sure that your full name is in the name cell as well, so that you get credit for the quiz. Does that help?
Yes, yes.
Professor.
Thank you.
Yes.
Professor,
Yes.
do you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. And the time of the quiz, I think you said 24 hours.
Yes. Over the next 24 hours, you can do this quiz.
You can.
Starting from today, Professor.
I'm sorry?
24 hour means starting from today.
Starting from the end of class today.
Oh, okay. But now I have a trouble in to log in the Moodle. That's why.
Okay. So if you have trouble with that, make sure that you message me and I will send you the link directly. But message me like, or I will write it down right now.
My email.
Yeah.
Yes, Professor.
I can email it to you at your Windsor University account. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No problem.
And Professor, is it only from chapter 3?
Could you repeat that, please?
And is it only from chapter 3, the quiz?
Yes, technically the questions are from chapter 3, but you can incorporate your learning so far in any of the chapters.
Okay, thank you.
Professor, I haven't finished chapter 1 and 2 quiz until now. Can I answer today after that lecture? Because I have a trouble. I cannot join because we need to use the VPN to enter that login for Moodle. But now I can use I can open the VPN. I'm waiting and checking, waiting and checking. I'm luckily now join the class.
I think you're going to need to have a conversation with me separately, because I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. I think you're asking for access to the previous quizzes, and those are only always going to be for the 24 hours. And the reason why is because everything links in this course. Everything connects. And so I open it up as soon as we finish class or during class and give you time for it. And you have that next 24 hours to complete it. It will be open. When I say 24 hours, my goal is for you to be in between now and 24 hours from now.
Yeah,
it's
yes,
actually
Professor.
Open until
yes, Professor.
that.
I will try my best today after the class. Yes, I will try my best. Yes. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Professor.
Yes.
The email we uploaded is the university email or private email?
I'm sorry, I could not hear that.
The quiz, the email we send the quiz is private email or Windsor University email?
The quiz link is available in the Moodle for everyone. Sean asked for me to email it to him specifically because he's having a difficult time accessing the Moodle.
Okay.
What I can do is do an email to everyone in class with the link to the quiz as soon as we finish so that everyone has access no matter what. But you need to work on getting your access to the Moodle.
The email we send is I think is Windsor University or my private email.
It is the Windsor. What I've been doing, because I've had issues with emails bouncing back, is I send it to your Windsor University email and then I copy it to your personal email.
Okay, thank you so much.
So it's going to 2 emails for each person.
Okay, thank you, Professor. I understand.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so let's look at for next week. The reflection component for next week that you're going to continue to keep for yourself, that we're building each week upon, is going to focus on what are your ethical responsibilities when perceiving others in your organization. And you're to include a minimum of 4 of the following considerations. And these considerations are all explicitly in chapter 3, but implicitly or explicitly in the chapters that we've already covered as well. So you want to look at what's going to be most pertinent to you when you look at your own ethical responsibilities when perceiving others in your organization, and then see which 4 of the following areas from our learning connect. So stereotyping, attribution, self-fulfilling prophecies, the halo, false consensus, recency, and the primacy effects. And then you're going to read chapter 5, which is about employee motivation, and review or listen to the chapter 5 presentation deck with lecture. And then the assignment that you're going to complete and bring with you to class next week is a problem identification first draft. You're going to write out a very short description of your most important concern at work, school, or in your personal life. It'll be about 8 to 10 sentences, about 2 to 3 paragraphs. And there are examples that are provided in the Moodle. Those examples are also in that Google Drive link that I just gave to you. So let me show you what that example page looks like. It specifically says at the top, preparation for 27th of June. You're going to write out one very short description of your most important concern. You're going to choose the context that that concern is a part of, if it's a work concern, a school concern, or a personal life concern. You're going to write 8 to 10 sentences total, and it'll be 2 to 3 paragraphs maximum. And then there's an example for each of those provided below. So if you're interested in writing out a work problem or a work concern, that's sample number 1 is right here. If you're interested in writing out a school problem, that sample is right here. And if you're interested in writing out a life problem, that example is right here. Why we're doing this now is because the 4th of July, we are not going to have a session together online. You'll be working independently, and you'll be working on your first assignment, which is a 50-point value. And it incorporates the first 5 chapters of the textbook. And you're going to identify a problem. You're going to do some research on that problem, have a solution plan, consider how that would be measured. You're going to have some kind of presentation. You'll have your written form, but you're going to have a video or an infographic or some kind of design or audio that you will bring to class with you on July 10th, because we'll be engaging in that. And then there's also a reflection. Next week, we are going to go over the full assignment rubric, and it's going to be provided to you ahead of time so you can come with questions to class. So let me stop sharing this and share that document with you. So this is the document that we just looked at from the Google Drive, and which will be provided to you in the Moodle if it's not already there. And then this is the rubric. I know it looks really small right now, that we're going to be using for the assignment. That is also going to be made available to you today. But what we're doing for next week is only this problem identification. I want you to bring a draft of it so that you can get some feedback from us in class next week, so that you can have a successful assignment completion. Does that make sense?
Yes, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and go back to the other document that I was in. And downsize that. Okay, so you have a lot to do. I'm open to any questions or clarifications that you might need right now.
Please, Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
So we will come prepared with the problem in our work or school environment and in around 10 sentences. That to choose a problem from what we will present the next week, or it is separate from what we are going to do next week, that we are going to make a problem identification and find solutions for, and this stuff.
Okay, so what we are doing right now is we're making a draft, the first draft of your problem identification. And you're bringing that with you to class on June 27th. And on June 27th, we're going to build in time for you to be able to get feedback on your problem that you identified, so that
Professor,
you can then do your first assignment and complete the remaining components. You can do research on it, solutions and plans, measurement plans, your presentation, coordination, and your reflection, which is why I'm giving you the time on July 4th, because on July 10th, you'll bring that final work with you. Questions?
So it will be an individual assignment after the feedback?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Professor, will we present the first draft of it to the class?
You won't present it to the whole class. You're going to present it to the groups that you just worked with today and get feedback from them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So at the 4th of June, we will not take a session. We will work on our projects only, right?
Correct. On the 4th of July, we will not come together virtually. We will work on you'll use that time to work on your projects.
Okay.
Okay. And I can show you. This is the link. Actually, let me just give you this link now, and I will email this to you also, because I do realize that I've been giving you a lot of links today. But let me give you this link. This is to next week's work. I don't have it on the Moodle yet, but I'm going to put it on the Moodle now and then email you all. And this has the window of what we're going to work on. So before you come to the session on the 27th, you're going to make sure this is really small. Hold on. Let's do full screen. Okay. Can you see my screen still?
Yes.
And it says Monday, the 27th of June?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So you'll do that reflection. You're going to do your chapter work. You're going to bring your draft of your problem identification. And then you also will have an assignment that will be for the 10th of July. And then during the session next week, we're going to engage with the content from chapter 5, as well as your problem identification draft. And we will make sure that you have feedback so that you feel confident in moving forward with your problem. And then I will go specifically through those questions that you have about the rubric and the assignment, because you have the time on July 4th, but you're not going to be required to upload it for me anywhere on July 4th. You're going to bring it with you to class on July 10th. We're going to engage with it again, the full work, not just the problem. And then you'll have time to do your reflection and revisions and upload it for me to grade. Does that make sense?
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to get out of my screen now. There we go. So I just gave you my Google Drive access for the class on the 27th. So that has the PDF of the presentation, the PDF of the PowerPoint, the audio of the PowerPoint, the presentation with lecture, the closed captioning, the visual that will follow for your assignment that will be taking place, and your preparation for the 27th for the draft of the problem identification. I will upload all of this onto the Moodle as well, and then email you all with everything in a list. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. You're welcome. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense in my mind and when I organize it, but if it doesn't work for you all, I need to hear that so that I can make sure you have what you need to be successful.
Professor?
Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
My internet was like breaking, but I tried to understand most of what you said. Just a minute. نور ميمي اطلع برا sorry. So I will follow the instructions, but if I have any questions or clarification, can I or can anyone like contact you directly, maybe on WhatsApp?
Yes, absolutely. I've had people contact me on WhatsApp.
Good.
Yeah, that's actually easier than the Teams chat, because I have the WhatsApp on my phone. So when I see a message come through, if I can answer it right away, I'll answer it right away. But if I don't, I can still get back to it pretty quickly.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem. Any other questions?
I have a suggestion, not a question. I don't know if it can happen or not.
Okay.
If we are going to work in groups, okay, should we like today we got to know our adjectives, okay? Should we share it among ourselves? Like I should share my adjective, how I see myself with my group, so they can like focus on the strong side.
So the group that you're going to be working with when we do like feedback next week on your problem identification is the group that you were with today.
Okay, so maybe that's part of, okay, now I understand. It's not about
yes,
we will work together, it's about feedback from each other.
yes, yes.
That's the issue of the internet. Sorry for that.
Yes, no problem. And you're following my thought process though, Amid. So thank you for sharing that, because it will grow. You know, like as we continue throughout the semester now, you'll have interactions with each other, either whole group or in small groups in your assigned groups that you had today. And it's important for you to keep it on people's minds, right? Like, and I always will say to people, help me, do I have a blind spot here? Right? I feel like I'm missing something. What's my blind spot? And they know, you know, that, oh, okay, yeah, you're approaching it from the ethical standpoint and I'm approaching it from the organizational standpoint of exactly like what we're trying to accomplish, not that we're trying to accomplish it in an ethical way, something like that, right? So you may find yourself using the language from the windows when you're in your conversations with your group members at different times.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll hang on for another minute if there's more questions, but if not, you're welcome to head out and get yourself started on your quiz or whatever your evening brings to you.
Thank you, Professor. Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Professor. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, Professor.
Bye. Bye, Mom. Take care. Have a good day, Julian.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Ahmed.
So you will be a grandmother for the second time, third time?
A grandmother for the second time.
That's good.
Yes, it's very in both girls.
Okay, I wish everything will go smoothly.
Thank
okay,
you. I will
and I
tell my
wish
daughter.
best of health for the baby and your daughter.
Thank you. I will keep you posted next week if she came or not.
With the photos also.
I'm sorry?
With the photos, if possible. With pictures, if possible.
I'm hearing background noise on someone. Just give me 1 second. Let me. Okay. Could you say that
with
one more time?
pictures, if possible.
Oh, yes, absolutely. As soon as I will,
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Noran. It's very exciting times.
Hope for her all the best.
I thank you. I appreciate that. She had a little stumble yesterday and I was just like, wait, you can't do that. So there's nothing like it.
Yes, I hope the baby will be in grace and beauty forever.
I thank you. That's a lovely sentiment for her.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Have a nice week. Have a nice, healthy week.
Yes, you too. Stay healthy and safe, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.